Hi, I'm Saundra and I'm back with another process video using a black and white photo. It was originally a 5x4 and I guess it's still a 5x4. I just cut the borders off of it. This layout began as one of those layouts that I just knew for sure how it would turn out, and it took me in a little bit of a different direction. My original plan was to tear out this flower off of this beautiful, gorgeous paper and have it hang over the photo after the photo had been had layers underneath it. And I fell in love with that gold and blue flowered paper, so I really wanted to use that behind it. But as I started picking out the papers for the layering, things changed because originally I was going to do pretty much, I don't know if it's traditional, but more traditional layering. And instead what I ended up doing was creating like a stairway on each side with the layers, if that makes any sense. And what began to happen is what usually happens at this point. Once I change one thing on a layout, that is part of the master plan, so to speak, other things start to change on a layout. And so as we go along here, you'll see that things don't always end up the way you think they're going to end up, that you have pretty much in your head. And this is one of those cases. But I really like how it turned out. It was fun doing it. And I felt like it was a bit of an experiment because I haven't I haven't laid out a page using layering like this in the past. So it was kind of nice doing something a little different with my layering. And it's always nice to try something new, like to, step away from whatever your norm is and see what happens. And that's kind of what happened here. I've been trying to use more colors, and particularly since I'm doing a baby page. I mean, she's only just over a year old, and I don't want it to be dark, or I don't know. I want it to be bright and cheery and pink, but not too pink. And so I like the background paper that I now have. It's called Tutu Pink, and it has a nice texture to it. Anyway, basically what I'm doing here is lining up my papers. And the reason why I keep using that multi-purpose tool to lift things with, because for whatever reason, sometimes my nails will scratch the paper and I don't want to leave any marks on it. So I use that all-purpose tool to lift things up every now and then. And I'm so used to using it for so many things. When I scrapbook, I'm kind of lost without it. Anyway, I'm trying my best to work this flower into it, but as you can see, that's not looking like at all what I had in my head. I don't know, that's just not it. And then I think, if I could only use this lace. And I've had that lace for quite some time now. Years, actually. Years and years and years. And I keep pulling it out, trying to use it. And I know one of these days, it's going to work on a layout. I just know it will, just not this one. So I'm trimming this down some because I want the layers on each side to be equal. And I want a little bit of the pink to show on each side of the layering. So the only way for me to do that is to trim down this particular layer first. So I pulled out this grid sheet to use as a guide to lay out my layers. It'll help me with the spacing and also with keeping each side straight. And it worked out pretty well in the end. So I was glad I had this. I'm also pulling out one of the sheets of layering. One reason is because it'll make a great journaling card. And the other is because I need more space on each side so that some of the pink will show on the bottom. And so that's it all laid out on the grid. And I have the star paper underneath it because I'm just thinking, what can I do with it? So sometimes when I think I want to put something into a layout, I'll keep it nearby. And in this case, I'm just laying my layers on top of it, or my work on top of it, so that I can sort of think about it in the background while I continue to work. So as I'm putting this down, I can see where, the grid really helps, because um, I think I would spend far more time trying to eyeball this um, if I didn't have the grid. I'm also trying to make sure that I don't have them out of order on one side versus the other. And now that I'm looking at the stars, I'm thinking I could perhaps put a layer between the photo and that beautiful flower, golden flower paper. I'm not going to keep that. I know it. It's too dark alone with to put next to everything else. It's just not working for me. I could probably get away with it, but I don't know. It's just not flowing for me. So I'm thinking I have to pull that one. But I'm thinking I could put a layer of the stars between or underneath the picture and whatever's I end up putting there. Or maybe even cut them out and use them as embellishments. Not cut them out. I have a small star punch and I can use that to punch out the stars. I love fussy cutting, but not that much. That would be a little too much. I have to get Shimelle to make some stars if she hasn't already. Like I know her, right? Anyway, so that came out really nice. And let's give this one more try. No, now it looks like a monster hanging over her. She wakes up and sees that. Oh, that'll scare her. Anyway. Anyway. So I'm changing the background paper. I like the pink, but I don't know. It's not as bright as I now want the layout to be. And that's one of my favorite shades of pink too. So this is a little too yellow, but I like the pink that's in there. And this is nice and pink. Very pink. Might be too pink. I don't think so. I can get away with that. What do you think? Let's go for it. Let's live dangerously. Let's do something different. Let's go all out with pink. After all, it was her favorite color at this time. And she was small and full of pink. So we're about to enter the home stretch. At least that's what I tell myself once I get this laid down. I always feel like when I head to the embellishments, it's the home stretch, because that's normally what I would think would be the shortest part of making your layout or my layout. And I have the feeling I take more time with embellishments than I do with the layout part, but it's probably more like 50-50. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to pay more attention to that. But I think I always end up, from what I can tell thus far, the last 10 minutes of my layout is normally on Embellishments. Anyway, I like those thickers. They're white foam thickers, and you can also paint them or stain them. But for this one, I'm going to actually leave them white since it's about dreams and they look like a little cloud. Not the letters, but the coloring of them. Looks like a cloud. So I measured this because I really do want it centered as close as possible. So that works out pretty well. I always tell myself the more and more I scrapbook, the easier it would get for me to just eyeball things. But in some things I do, I'll eyeball it all the time. But whenever I'm being a bit meticulous and I really want something centered or a particular way, then I'll measure. But most times it's not as important. I can normally eyeball it. Not that this is major important, but I would like it centered. So that looks nice over top of that, but I think it covers up the ponies a bit too much, so I will not be using that as an extra layer. And I thought using this ruby red against the black and white photo would be really cool, even though it's a baby photo, because it really makes the photo pop up like a ruby, or I don't know. Black would do the same thing, but I didn't want anything that dark. Or maybe a nice royal blue. Anything that goes with black and white. So it's embellishment time. And I'm seeing too much pink here, like a whole lot of pink, which is more than I can handle. So I decide to bring in a little blue. And I pull things from True Stories. It's a collection by Shimelle, because I really like the shade of blue that's in this collection and how it looks against the pink. And it has different shades of blue. So I think that's pretty nice, though. I think that piece at the top might be a little too big. And I've added my journaling to the card at the bottom. And I know what's going to be on the opposite page of this. This is actually the right side of a 2-page spread. And I know what will be on the left side. I haven't scrapbooked it yet, but you'll probably get to see that in the future. And that'll have additional journaling there. That moon is from Creative Memories, like Done with One kit or something. That has to be at least like 10 years old. So when I say I'm digging into my stash and trying to get rid of everything that's that's really old in there, that's how old things are. Some things are even older, though most of what I'm using here is just in the past couple of years. But since I've been, I have like 8 layouts laid out already and ready to film, or they were filmed to go up. And I've been going through my stash and it's really beginning to disappear, especially the things that I like and that I know I'll use. So 6 months might be too long before, might be too long. I might have to start getting some paper and products before 6 months because I feel like I'm going to run out. My taste has changed a lot in the past, 10, I don't know, 12, 15 years of scrapbooking. So the products that I have that are really, really old, I may or may not use, though I keep trying to stick some of it in. Like that moon is great, and the rest of the kit is really nice. I think I'll hold on to that. But I have paper that I know I won't be using, so I'll probably donate it to a school. But I don't know, it's interesting. Your taste changes, and then they have all these new products that come out. And, well, you want to play with them. Try them out. At least I do. So this is where I put a lot of my pieces of whatever. I try to keep the collections together. That is like a little dish full of Shimelle's products, just about most of it. And then sometimes I'll put things in there that were from a previous layout that I didn't use. But I kept the cards so that I'm trying to keep the cards when I break things up, or the information, so that I'll know what it belongs to. Since I'm doing videos, it would help to share where products come from with you. And I have to say, not buying products for 6 months is really hard for me. I went into a craft store the other day just to get some tape runner and some more glue. And I was with my daughter, and she had to help me get out of the store because, I don't know, it's just so much stuff that everything was calling my name. So so I had to get out of there really quick, but I was very proud of myself in the end that I just walked out with what I went in there for, which was a miracle. But I did it. Anyway. So I like these little cutouts from True Stories. It adds just enough blue. And I like what's written on there. It really suits my daughter. And the boarding pass is way too cute. I love the suitcase. And I kept trying to fit it on with the suitcase, but I didn't want to cover up the suitcase, so I ended up cutting it off. But it will pop up in another layout somewhere, maybe on the page that goes with this. I could put it there. I'll have to remember that. So let's skip ahead to where this is glued down, okay? So I'm liking this so far, but I think that cloud at the top is a little too much blue. I also think I need a little something down here at the bottom above the moon. The little moon's on the right. So I'm using the branding strips to fill this in. And that branding strip is also from True Stories. I'm trying to have it, the photo and the layers laid down so that it's not covering up any of the journaling. So I had to lift it up a little bit by adding another strip there on the right. And that'll work. So I'm thinking. Overthinking. But it's time to put it down. Working on the overthinking part. And I like it. I like it a lot. I'm thinking, though, the cloud at the top is a little too much blue. I think it's pulling the eyes a little too much, so I'll see what else I have that I can stick in there. Loving the moon, though. That cute little 10-year-old moon. Nope, not going to work. So this is again another branding strip, same collection, and they're tiny little clouds. And I think that'll give me just enough blue at the top to pull it together. So I'm just going to put down the last few items here. I keep thinking, should I add another heart? Make it 3 hearts, but I think I'm going to stick with just the 2. Yeah, it'll work. I think the way the journaling card comes down through the layers where the flowers are below it with the journaling actually on it, and then the embellishments at the bottom, plus the moon, it helps frame the photo to keep it in the center. So I don't think I need to do anything else to try to keep the attention on the photo. Plus the layers, it's going to draw your eyes right there. So that looks cute. I think the stain around the baby girl little sticker thing, that really helps it pop up more since there's so much pink in the background. And I put the heart up on a pop-up dot. And now I'm taking the stars that were from that Shimelle sheet. I punched them out with a star puncher from Creative Memories, and it was the perfect size. So I'm just scattering them around, and that didn't take a minute to punch them out. And it's looking pretty good there. I just want to scatter them about. No pattern or design here with the stars, just kind of tossing them all over the place. Throwing caution to the wind here I am. So let's get all the stars down. And this glue worked really well putting the stars down, but one of them, the one I just put down, I must have used too much because it wrinkled. So I'll use my tape runner to fix that one. Just replace it with another star. And I think that's the only one I had to do that to. Looks cute. Bling time. So I'm going to do the same thing with the bling. I'm going to go a little crazy with it. There's no pattern, no design. I'm just going to put it all over the layers and scatter it around where the ponies are. And just kind of, I'm trying to use up all the very tiny pink little sparkle rhinestones that I have in this pack. I think when I'm done, there are no more of the tiny ones left. And so we're coming to an end. I want to thank you again for stopping by, and this is the finished product. A few stills here, and again, thank you so much for watching my videos. I so appreciate it. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope to see you again. There's more to come. Have an awesome day.